Welcome to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Today, we'll show you how to use the spirit of love and self-worth to improve the connections with everyone else in your life. This program is your weekly gift, and it will keep on giving. You'll see. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jean Marie Farish.
Greetings and a hearty welcome, everyone. I hope you're all faring well. I'm Dr. Jean Marie, your Love Light host, coming to you from the Voice America Empowerment Channel, shining love light into your hearts and homes to inspire you to create a life you love. And many thanks to our listeners worldwide who tune in live and on demand. We have a fantastic show today. Why is consciousness imperative in self-healing? With Dr. Millie Diericx joining us today from Mexico City. Spiritual healing occurs as we begin to consciously connect with our essential being, the wise, loving, powerful, creative entity that we are at our core, quoted by Shakti Gawain. And as stated by Hippocrates, natural forces within us are true healers of disease. Abraham Maslow states what is necessary to change a person is to change his awareness of himself. Consciousness is achieving mastery over mind and understanding our divine power. Being conscious in reality is being more aware of ourselves, what we're thinking, how we're feeling and acting. When we are consumed with fear, doubt, and worry, we lower our consciousness. Moreover, we raise our consciousness to the vibration of love. When we do that, we become more positive, have a more positive mindset, outlook. And this has an impact on how we approach life's challenges and health issues. So how can we understand and heal from our life stories, root issues that can leave us mired in grief, pain, and ill health? How can we resurrect the power within and take control of our lives? How can we put our lives in balance to attain inner harmony, well-being, and peace? Our outstanding guest, Dr. Millie Diericx, joining us today from Mexico City, is a true testimony that healing from within is possible. Healing herself from the debilitating illness of lupus when traditional medicine offered no cure. Tapping into a higher level of consciousness and healing modalities that brought her back into homeostasis. Millie is a #1 international award-winning best-selling author who is highly proactive about understanding the workings of the deep mind. And she was recently featured in the documentary film, Facing Fear. Millie is a hypnotherapist, energy therapist, alternative health facilitator, founder of Consciousness and Evolution, author of the Konscio Method, Heal, Expand, Evolve, based on the idea that all humans are spiritual beings in communion with divinity. And her other book, Befriending the Wolf, the guide to living and thriving with lupus. Millie earned the PhD in thanatology and master's in Erickson psychotherapy. She believes the next step in human evolution is one of consciousness, and she now intends to focus her efforts on bringing her unique vision and method into the world through her signature program, Healing from Within, her books, publications, courses, retreats, and conferences. Millie helps people shift their consciousness to survive turmoil and adversity and manifest a higher sense of consciousness for a truly authentic life. Our show today is certainly enlightening, educational, with alternative solutions and possibilities. However, we recommend that listeners adhere to their prescribed medical and mental health treatment regimen. So now I am honored to welcome our outstanding guest, Dr. Millie Diericx, on our show today, Why Consciousness is Imperative in Self-Healing. Millie, welcome to Love Light, and thanks for returning on such an empowering episode.
Jean, thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Well, you have done so much to share your message to the world, and through your own self-healing. It's truly laudable, and we are certainly delighted to have you on such an empowering episode. But Millie, for our listeners, if you can share a little bit about yourself and how did you reach the point of enough suffering, after you experienced your healing journey with lupus. Tell us a little bit about you and that journey.
Well, it took a while, but after being like in my deathbed almost, I had to make a choice. And the choice was whether I would continue down the path of, depression and medicine and probably death, or I could do something about my situation. And of course, it sounded like very improbable that I could actually do something about it, because all the doctors said it was incurable. So I went into it with a little bit of, with a pinch of salt, but I looked for all kinds of methods. I tried absolutely everything. I said, well, I had made my choice to live. And with this choice, I had to really come to terms to my emotions and to see what had caused the illness in the first place, which is exactly why I named this program what I named it, because we have root causes that trigger our immune systems, at least the people who have immune illnesses, but everybody, all the problems are triggered by something in our past. And I really had to delve deep in order to find root causes and what had happened before, to be able to understand and start to heal my condition. And of course, it took a long while. It took like 14 years for me to be able to say today that I haven't had an attack in many, many years, and I don't have any medication anymore. And I'm not so conceited to say I'm cured, but I'm basically cured.
Yes. And you've done amazing work. And again, as I shared in the introduction, you are a true testimony. My question next is this whole issue about consciousness. What do you mean by consciousness in terms of self-healing?
Well, consciousness begins with awareness of ourselves. So many people, including myself, are so unconscious of what's going on in our own bodies. So we first have to come to terms with what's going on in our bodies and what is triggering. That means our physical body, our emotions, and our mind. Because in our mind, we have so many beliefs and so many things and memories that are causing negative emotions, that are causing symptoms, and we are not even aware of it. So consciousness begins in ourselves, in the body. And after we do that, we start being conscious of other people. We start being conscious of our empathic connection to others. Because when we know ourselves, we can understand other people and their own suffering and pain. So that's when we can actually start to help other people, when we really understand them. So that's why my method is called the Konscio Method, because that's the word for consciousness. And consciousness means means being aware. And the first, philosophers from ancient Greece said, first know thyself. Yes. Because if you don't know yourself, you can't be aware of anything else in the world, let alone others.
And Millie, what's so interesting is that sometimes we're kind of the last to pay attention to ourselves. We get so caught up in the busyness of life or even looking after others. And even though there may be symptoms manifesting, we kind of ignore them until they're out of control. I love what you talk about in terms of body awareness. A lot of people are under stress, maybe a lot of negative emotions, feeling angry during the course of the day. How can we become more aware of our bodies, and how can we really listen and talk to our bodies? Because we had an interesting conversation about that.
Well, the first thing you have to do is know that any symptom is your body talking to you. It doesn't have words to talk to you. So you need to understand its language, and its language is symptoms. So if anything hurts or you're experiencing any sort of discomfort in your body, it can be emotional, it can be a pain, it can be anything, your body's trying to tell you something. So once you know that, you can start to trace, for example, how did this symptom start, or when did it start? What was I doing? What did I eat? Who was I with? Because that will give you clues. Of course, you have to be a detective at first because we're not used to doing this. So you do the detective work to see how this symptom came to be. And you can look in the past to see how many times you've had this symptom. And maybe you can find this thread that communicates every situation in which you have had this symptom. For example, you were talking about stress. Many people get headaches when they get stressed. So if you have headaches, usually in the same situation, for example, in a work situation, before I go into a meeting, I get a headache. Well, that's a stress headache. And your body is telling you that you are experiencing stress before meeting. So then you need to know why. What am I feeling? Is this a belief I come from the past, like speaking in public is a threat to me, or is my boss really threatening to me, or where is the stress point from going into a meeting? So you have to sort of do the detective work and start questioning yourself of where this symptom comes from. And your body is really intelligent and wise, so it knows exactly where it came from and why it's doing what it's doing and what it needs to heal. So once you tap into your own wisdom, you are like a step ahead from everybody else in healing yourself.
That's so important to our listeners. Be your own detective for body awareness. And I think I shared with you how I was in a position where I had to manage or deal with conflict. And the conflict really didn't have anything to do with me, but I was a mediator. But before and after, it was draining. And I know I'm empathic. And, I would get even migraine headache that can be debilitating. And I think we talked about how we can pick up on the energy of others or the situation. And you shared how we can really discern, is this about me, or is this energy that I'm picking up? So can you share with our listeners, I know there are many empathic people out there who pick up on energy, and you claim it and take it on as your own. How can we distinguish what is mine and what's the other, and how to manage, like for me, the headaches that I got, prior to those conflict resolution situations, and then after?
Of course, because highly sensitive people, which there are a lot of us out there, we take on the emotions of others as if they were our own. And our body doesn't know how to respond to them because there's nothing happening in your life that's actually responsible for the symptom. So your body goes into like overwhelm of emotions, and it reacts as if it were being under attack. So your body was reacting to the conflict you were resolving as if it was you having the fight, as if you were under threat. That's why you got the migraines. So once you have the awareness of that, you can know, and you can even tell your body, because you start building this relationship and it understands you, that this is not mine. This is somebody else's. And you can sort of give it back or give it away or just clean it away from your own energy system because it's not yours. And when you give that instruction to your body, even in your mind, like saying, okay, this sadness is from my friend, it's not mine. This conflict is not mine. Your body will understand it, and it will start to sort of get it out of the system because you don't need it and your body doesn't know what to do with it. And you can't leave that situation thinking about that if it was yours, because sometimes being empathic tend to take that problem with us, and we're still thinking about those people, oh, poor people, they're having all this pain and suffering, and you take it with you and you start feeling their pain and their suffering as if it was yours, and it's not yours. So we have to completely be aware of that and just give that situation back to the person who's generating it. It's not yours.
And Millie, that's so important, because during that time I wasn't self-aware. And I understand it now, of course, through the years, knowing more about, how to manage your own stress and how to deal with other individuals who come to you with stress, and, that you may pick up their emotions or whatever. But now it's like, after I understood that, I don't have those headaches anymore. So it's amazing how when the self-awareness and the knowledge, the self-knowledge is so very important. Millie, keep your thoughts. We're ready for a brief commercial break. So for our listeners, don't go away. We will be right back with more on why consciousness is imperative in self-healing with Dr. Millie Diericx. She's joining us today from Mexico City, energy therapist, hypnotherapist, CEO and founder of Consciousness and Evolution. She's the author of the Konscio Method, Heal, Expand, Evolve, and Befriending the Wolf, the Guide to Living and Thriving with Lupus. Stay tuned for more. We'll be right back because Millie's going to show us how to break through and break free to live the life that we love. Thank you so much. We'll be back shortly.
Announcing Dr. Jean Marie Farish's new book, Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations. This is the companion piece to Dr. Farish's best-selling book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being. Through the new book, we invite you to cultivate a lifestyle of love through daily devotional practices over a 21-day period, following 9 ingredients in the recipe of love. Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations is available on Amazon.com and Balboa Press.
Jean Marie Farish's Center for Conscious Loving, LLC, cultivates a lifestyle of love and wholehearted connections through personal growth, altruistic services, and speaking engagements. Resources include classes, workshops, life care coaching, and creative service projects with an emphasis on cultural arts. Visit the website at drjeanmariefarish-consciousloving.com. That's drjeanmariefarish-consciousloving.com, or click the link on the Love Light show page.
Best-selling authors international, news honors best-selling authors around the globe. Dr. Jean Marie Farish is featured in the newly released issue of Published Magazine. To have first access to this treasured resource, go to publishedmagazine.com. Vicki Winterton and Dr. Jean Marie Farish have compiled a dynamic book, We're All in This Together, Embrace One Another, an anthology with 24 highly diverse co-authors who share how to spread the message of love, resilience, inclusivity, and compassion. This book is an invaluable source of uplifting, inspiring, and positive insights for spreading positivity in the world. We're All in This Together, Embrace One Another is available on Amazon.com. Be sure to get your copy today. Follow Voice America at Facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts.
You are tuned in to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Feel free to connect with our program through email or check out our links on Facebook. Reach Jean at Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. That's Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. And now, back to Love Light.
Welcome back to Love Light, Living in the Spirit of Love. If you're just joining us, we are with Dr. Millie Diericx on our show today, Why Consciousness is Imperative in Self-Healing. Millie is an energy therapist, hypnotherapist, alternative healing facilitator, founder and CEO of Consciousness and Evolution. And Millie, thank you so much in the first segment, sharing your story, talking about body awareness, how people who are empaths, the effect that has on them, and how we need to be more aware, become more self-aware of ourselves and even people who we're affiliating with during the course of the day. And Millie, I'd like for you to share a little bit about our belief system and root causes, because, we all have thoughts and feelings that go back from stories from childhood or whatever. Can you shed light on our beliefs and root causes? And I know you're going to take us through an inner child healing exercise, but, enlighten us on root causes and how our beliefs have an impact on our bodies.
Of course. When we're young, our bodies and our minds are very innocent and very new. So what happens is our body is learning and our mind is learning. So we go through these learning processes, most of which are very useful to us, like when we first put our hands in fire and we get burned. And we learn fire burns. Ouch. But we also get learnings that are not so useful. For example, I don't know, if somebody's being abusive to you and you feel threatened, you can have this belief like men are threatening or women are threatening, or I am unworthy of being loved because I was rejected by my parents, or I felt rejected by my parents. So these situations create beliefs, learnings. You can just call them either beliefs or learnings, because that's how your body coped with the situation then. And as long as you don't challenge these beliefs or these learnings, your body keeps coping the exact same way. So any situation that reminds you in the present or reminds your body of that situation you lived as a child will automatically take you to the same response, even if that response is not useful anymore. For example, if when you were little, you got attacked and you hid in a closet or somewhere to be able to avoid that situation, that conflict with your parents or whoever was attacking you, you will go into the closet again as an adult. You will withdraw, you will just close yourself out, and you will probably damage your relationships. So when you do that, today, it's not as useful as it was. Maybe you coped that way and you survived thanks to that defense mechanism, but it's not working for you anymore. And maybe you have no idea today why you shut off from relationships and why your relationships tend to not work whenever things get hard. And that's a situation in the past that you're bringing into the present because your body learned that way. So what we need to do is, beside being the detective, as we were talking before, you need to know what was the root cause or the situation that was really traumatic that created this response in you. Examples of these situations are abuse, of course, a divorce, a change of home or social situation, the death of somebody you loved, that your body doesn't know how to cope with. So it comes up with an idea or a belief to cope with the situation. And that emotion gets triggered every time it's reminded of a situation like it. So that's why we have to heal the inner child, because you're still responding like that little baby or child.
And Millie, it's so interesting how we play out these root issues over the course of our lives. My question is, what if, identifying the root cause, is that really very easy? Let's look at people who perhaps deny it or block it out. What's your thought on it? And I know that's why coaching or seeing an energy therapist like yourself can be helpful, because perhaps they don't want to remember, or they deny it, or don't want to recall it. What's your thoughts on that?
Of course, there's a lot of denial, especially with really hard situations like sexual abuse or physical abuse. There's people that get burned with cigarette butts and things that are really horrible, and your defense mechanism is just blocking it out. And for that, I would recommend to go to a trained professional to get personal therapy. I wouldn't recommend for those people to try and unblock those memories by themselves, because they're going to need the contention. They're going to need somebody there to be with them and to guide them through the process. Because if their mind shut it off, there's a reason for that, and it's defending you. So everything that's been blocked or denied or is simply just there in the dark, there's a reason for this. And your mind is really trying to protect you from something that it thinks is too big for you. So you need professional help. So people that are feeling this block, please look for professional help. But most of us or many of us don't have such traumatic situations, but something we can deal with. For example, I was telling you the other day, we were having a conversation that my brother, who really didn't like me, used to put me in the trash as a baby. He just took me off my crib and put me in the trash. And I remember this. Well, I don't remember this story, but I was told this story, and then I associated it with some behaviors of mine. So going back and healing that baby that could put in the trash. I mean, he didn't hurt me. He didn't throw on me. He didn't do anything physically so horrible. I was just cold and crying out in the trash. But knowing that he had thrown me in the trash, it was more of an emotional thing of rejection. So I got this idea of being rejected, and anything that reminded me of it put me back in the trash, like metaphorically speaking.
Great.
So when the situation is not so traumatic, we can access it, and we can ask our parents, and we can ask the people around us if we don't remember. I was very young when this happened, so I couldn't remember myself. But I did have this feeling of rejection whenever somebody didn't like me so much. So I felt like being in the trash. I felt like trash. So
like
that's like I'm trash.
And we hold on to these psychic wounds? I know we talked about even in the womb, how even the feelings of the mother, like if the mother is very depressed or have a lot of emotional issues, the baby can kind of pick that up. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, not even kind of. Imagine every cell of your body got created and grew out of that environment. And if the environment said sadness, depression, anger, whatever, of course you're picking up on it, and your whole body is trying to defend you, even as an embryo, from that situation. So of course you're picking it up. Your whole life depends on your mother. She's your world while you're an embryo. So everything that's going on with her is going on with you. You're just part of her. The process of being apart from your mother starts at birth. Before that, you are just one and the same.
Yes, interesting. So this healing from whether it's rejection, abandonment, not being validated, so much that we experience from childhood that can play itself out in our adult life through unworthiness, being unlovable, unloving, you name it. And you're going to take us through an exercise for healing the inner child. And can you tell us why this is important and take us through it?
Sure. It's important because when we know what happened then, and we can talk to that child, and we can contain that child and let it express its feelings, then it's much easier to deal with similar situations in the present. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this as a meditation or self-hypnosis, however you want to call it. And we're going to go to that situation. And even if you don't know it, it can come up symbolically. And that's fine also, because your mind also understands symbols. So it doesn't matter how it comes up, just let it flow and talk to that child. Okay. And this is important to be able to cope with the same situation today. Okay. So shall I take you through the exercise?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay. So everybody close your eyes and start breathing. And with the breathing, gentle, deep breathing, start feeling your body as it is, where it's sitting. If there's tension anywhere, you can just let that tension go. Just relax, but go through your body piece by piece. Feel your feet. Where are they? Are they flat on the ground? Your shoes. And then your legs. If they're comfortable, if you're sitting down, the contact of the chair with your body and your back. And find any tension in your body and just release it through your breath. Inhale, relaxation, and exhale, tension. Once your body is really relaxed, go to that original situation that started the symptom. If you know the situation, you can just imagine it or remember it. And if you do not know the situation, just let the feeling or whatever comes up, come up. It may appear as a color or a symbol or just an internal feeling. And the symbol represents and is the root cause of your symptoms today. And just give yourself a moment to feel that. And then imagine you as a baby, can be in the womb, or as a baby, or as a young child. Reacting to that situation. And feel whatever comes up. And as you're watching that child, just be there with them and let them express that feeling that they couldn't express before. Whether it's anger or sadness or pain. Just be there with your child and letting them express whatever comes up. And any noises, anything else that comes up just remains outside while you're here, listening to your inner child, letting them express their feelings. And give your child whatever he or she needs from you right now. It can be a hug, or maybe just your presence. Or maybe they need for you to be there while they go through this situation again. And here you can use your imagination and be there and protect that child. Even superheroes are welcome. You can change this story in order for you to come out triumphant. And remember, just being alive today is a triumph in itself. And start breathing again. And come out of this meditative state, feeling much better. And with your child having expressed that feeling. And you can go back and do this how many ever times you want to.
Millie, this is a beautiful meditation, and we do encourage listeners to go back to it. It's great to, have something to connect with and exercise, things that perhaps we can do every day, even the body awareness, because again, we're so caught up in the busyness of life. We're the last to really focus on ourselves. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to talk more about this exercise when we come back from break. So for our listeners, stay tuned for more on this fantastic show, Why Consciousness is Imperative in Self-Healing, with our outstanding guest, Dr. Millie Diericx. She's joining us today from Mexico City, energy therapist, hypnotherapist, CEO, and founder of Consciousness and Evolution. She's the author of the Konscio Method, Heal, Expand, Evolve, and also Befriending the Wolf, the guide to living and thriving with lupus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Dr. Jean Marie Farish is proud to announce the release of her new book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being, available now at Balboa Press. This book will help you master your life and flourish in love. You'll learn how to become a better and more evolved you. Feel good by making life-affirming choices. Deepen your feelings and expressions of love. Tune in love and sustain the change. And flourish in love and find your joy. Visit BalboaPress.com and search for Living in the Spirit of Love and enjoy Dr. Farish's new book today.
I'm Judy Satori. I'm a spiritual channel and activator of human potential. You might have heard me speaking on the Voice of America on Dr. Jean Farish's show, Love Light, because I've been speaking about the challenges that are besetting all of us right now and how we can surrender but also keep on going. I want to invite you to join my new Facebook group that is devoted to heart-centered connection and unity. Through this Facebook group, you can also join my free access question and answer session with Spirit on the first Wednesday to Thursday of every month. Just search Ascension Community on Facebook to join the group. In this session, I answer questions and transmit energy from Spirit to give you guidance and support. Because life on planet Earth ain't easy right now. And there is so much help from above, from beings of love and light, from multidimensional realities who are actually here with us, wanting to step up and support us. I welcome you to become part of our ongoing group conversation about evolutionary change and how it's affecting us as human beings and affecting our life today. Many blessings to you. You can find out more about me and my work at www.ascensionlibrary.org. Have a wonderful day.
Announcing Dr. Jean Marie Farish's new book, Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations. This is the companion piece to Dr. Farish's best-selling book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being. Through the new book, we invite you to cultivate a lifestyle of love through daily devotional practices over a 21-day period, following 9 ingredients in the recipe of love. Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations is available on Amazon.com and Balboa Press. Best-selling Authors International news honors best-selling authors around the globe. Dr. Jean Marie Farish is featured in the newly released issue of Published magazine. To have first access to this treasured resource, go to publishedmagazine.com.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are tuned in to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Feel free to connect with our program through email or check out our links on Facebook. Reach Jean at Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. That's Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. And now, back to Love Light.
Well, welcome back to Love Light, Living in the Spirit of Love. We are with our amazing guest today, Dr. Millie Diericx. She's joining us from Mexico City on our show, Why Consciousness is Imperative in Self-Healing. She's an energy therapist, hypnotherapist, alternative healing facilitator, founder and CEO of Consciousness and Evolution. And Millie, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful inner child meditation. I'd like for us to kind of tie it up and share more about this meditation and what this will do as listeners tune back in to listen on demand.
Well, yes, this meditation, it was a really short thing, but you can do this every day to just start connecting with your own inner child and letting yourself as a child express your feelings, because all these emotions that we have pent up are the ones that are triggering our symptoms today, because we're never taught how to deal with our emotions. So just letting the child express however they want to express that feeling, because what were we told when we were little? Don't cry, don't be angry, go to your
Don't
room.
be a problem.
I don't want to hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it was very prohibitive, and that's just the way society works. You don't want, as a mother, to have your child throw a tantrum in the supermarket. You just don't, because everybody looks at you as if you were crazy or shut that child up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that we are not taught how to deal with our emotions, so they remain in our systems. So doing this kind of exercise, just symbolically, and just going back and to any situation you remember or that comes up, because if it's coming up today, it's coming from the past. So if you're feeling angry today, you can just do this really short meditation and go back to a moment when you were angry when you were little and you were reacting in the same way you're doing now, and just let that child do it then. So you don't have to do it again today, because you have more resources today. You can do these things differently.
Mm-hmm. And Millie, we have so many experiences over our lifetimes, and it's amazing how, let's say you were felt abandoned as a child or whatever, and through the course of your life, you've had similar experiences, and it's amazing how we can look at a collection. We can go back to and collect all of those experiences and feel even worse about ourselves.
Yeah, that's why healing the inner child and letting them know that you're there too. For example, in abandonment, okay, maybe that adult was not there for you, but now you as an adult, you can be there for your child. So that child won't feel abandoned anymore. So you can become your own parent, sort of. And that's so delicious to be able to do, because then everything that you needed then, you can give yourself today to you.
Yes, that's so important.
And exactly the way you need it, because sometimes it's not that our parents didn't want to love us, but they just didn't know how to do it because they weren't taught how to deal with their emotions either.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. They did the best they could, perhaps. And
with what they had.
Yes. And so what you're saying is we can parent our inner child and give it the love that perhaps we didn't receive.
The unconditional love and attention it needs.
Mm-hmm. So how does this help us kind of put our lives in balance? Because it's so much that draws us back to that inner child, the unworthiness, the grief, the rejection. How can we begin to not play out these stories over the course of our lives and get back in balance in our present life?
Well, that balance comes with loving yourself exactly as you are and accepting your story exactly as it is, and filling the voids that were, because we all have voids, like not being loved enough or not being paid attention to enough. Filling those voids will start to get your life in balance, because then you don't need to live the same situation again, because you don't need to resolve it anymore. The same situation keeps coming up because it wants to be resolved. But as long as you keep ignoring it, it will come up again and again. So once you heal it from a child, then it doesn't have to come up again. You know that child is healed when that situation is not present in your life anymore, or you don't get triggered by it. Maybe the same person, I don't know if it was an abusive relationship with your mother, and your mother still lives and she's still being abusive to you, but you don't react the same way, you don't get triggered by it, then you have successfully healed that child, and you are now your mother, and you can see your real mother with compassion, because now you know that she's acting from her own inner wounds.
Yes, that is so important. You brought up a good point, how we can continuously create situations, attract ourselves to the same kind of situation, continue to play this out over and over and over. So that's why the healing is so important.
Mm-hmm. And we can do this all the time. And this was just like a little example, but there's a lot of meditations there. Or you can even go to your coach or whatever, or come to me if you would like to, or read the book. In the book, I have much longer ones in which you can do to heal your inner child.
Mm-hmm. And Millie, let's talk a little bit about choice and responsibility, because I know we're always making choices. We have to be aware of our choices, the consequences of those choices, the price we pay for the choices that we make. So what if we have listeners out there who want to make changes, but maybe their fear that this may disrupt the dynamics of a relationship, perhaps one that is not very healthy. Or perhaps there are people out there who are still playing roles. We talk about the Cartman drama triangle, the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor, how we get into playing roles to live out those inner child wounds. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the triangle you're talking about is the perpetrator and the victim and then the rescuer. And that's very common for highly sensitive people to go into that triangle. So I would really like to talk about that one. When we feel too many emotions, we try to rescue the other person. We try to help, because as long as they're okay, you're not feeling so bad yourself, So we try to be the rescuer. And then we are so empathetic and compassionate that we allow abuse. So that person that we rescued usually becomes the perpetrator, and then they hurt us, and then we're the victim. And then we can become persecutors again, because then we want them to change. Yes. And that whole triangle is broken the moment you realize that the other person is not your responsibility. They're making their choices, and you have to make yours. And the one that has to step out of that triangle is you. And having a choice is our divine right. Free will was given to us as a gift from divinity. So we can always choose, and we're actually always choosing. We choose every day to be the same person that we are, or we choose to change, or we choose to go on a trip, or we chose to change our jobs or change our relationship. Every single choice, whether you choose to stay where you are, or you choose to move on, or you choose something different, every single thing you do is a choice. Taking that step, dressing in blue, everything is a choice. And every choice has a consequence. There can be big consequences or little consequences. If you dress in blue and you're going into a blue screen to film a video, then your shirt is going to appear like the screen, and then you're going to disappear. But that's a little choice, and that has a little consequence. But if you choose to step out of an abusive relationship, for example, that's going to have a huge consequence, because yes, it's going to disrupt that relationship and your life. You're going to be better off later, but it is going to be disruptive. You can't avoid the disruption if you decide to make a change. Also, if you decide to heal, you're going to have to do changes in your life, because the life as you're living it today was creating the illness. So you need to do changes in your life. And of course, it's going to be disruptive, maybe not to the people around you, but to your own lifestyle. You're going to have to change the way you eat, or the way you exercise, or the way you are aware of yourself.
Very
and
important.
saying no, and building boundaries, and having limits. All these things are going to have consequences, and we all have to be responsible, not only for the choices we make, but for the consequences they have in our lives and in the lives of others. So we have to pick up our stories from there. Yes. And knowing everything we do is a choice.
Yes, and I made the choice. I'm aware of my choice, but I think we had a conversation about how to choose yourself and create a life that you love. Well, Millie, tell us about your books, your services, how listeners can connect with you, and the documentary, Facing Fear.
Oh, yes, the documentary. That was such a fun project. And fear is one of the hardest emotions to get over. And we all have fear. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions. So getting over our fear is so important, because fear just doesn't let us do things. It just inhibits us from getting the life we want. So yes, that was a fun film, a fun project, and it's available now to be able to, anybody can buy it online. And the page is called facingfearfilm.com, and anybody that goes in there can buy the film and watch the film. There's a lot of very big names in the film and a lot of information that's so useful and so great. I've seen it like 5 times, and every time I see it, I want to take notes myself, even if I am in the field too.
Yeah, we're always learning. Well, congratulations on that project, and tell us the services that you provide and how listeners can connect with you.
Well, now I'm a therapist. I've always been a therapist of my method, but now I'm really getting into teaching my signature program, which is the basic way where you can find the root cause of the problem and heal it with really simple methods. And that course is called Healing from Within, Reprogramming Your System for a Fulfilled Life. And that's the signature program for the Konscio Method, in which I teach people the basic tools with which they can heal almost any problem, because it's just tools, and the sequence in which you can do this, and how to access the wisdom of your body to be able to be in tune with yourself all the time, and how to intention your future and get the life you really want to live. Once you liberate the energy from the wounded child, you can have that energy to do whatever you want with your life.
Truly healing. And I love your signature program. It's really helped people break through and break free. Do you have a giveaway for our listeners as we move toward closing?
I would love to have them enroll in the program for free if they want to, because if it's really healing, and I'm really trying to get this knowledge out into the world to help as many people as I can to be aware of themselves, to be more conscious, to wake up their consciousness and be able to heal themselves. So
and how can they get access to it?
Well, you can access me through my webpage, which is www.konscio.mx, and there are all my contacts and my social media and whatever. Through that webpage is the best way to get to me.
And you have the Love Light. You're going to let listeners kind of connect with you through Love Light. They can send that and let you know that they've listened to the show, right?
Oh, I would love that. And if they send an email to me through that website, and the email is info@konscio.mx.
All right.
And they've mentioned the program, I will enroll them in the signature program. That's going to be in February and March for the US. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you so much, Millie, for returning Love Light on such an enlightening, inspirational, educational show. We invite our listeners to listen back on demand, share our show with others, and connect with Millie to go deeper and learn more about her signature program, Healing from Within, and access her free gift offering as well. Much gratitude to the Voice America team for making this show a reality and for shining their love light around the world. Awaken to your own power and use it in your everyday life. Raise your consciousness to the vibration of love and know that anything is possible. I close with an excerpt on presence. Presence is being aware in your life and aware of how you are spending each moment. Be attuned to what's going on inside and around you. Carefully attend to your thoughts and feelings without judgment and criticism. Refrain from losing yourself in the past and other distractions. Be fully present in conversations, projects, being on task with projects, and enjoying your life. Savor the gift of present moments and enrich your relationship with yourself and others. This is Dr. Jean Marie, your Love Light host, coming to you from Voice America. And until we meet again, remember, an empowered self is a loving self. And keep your love light shining. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Jean, for having me, and for your audience to listening. And I hope I will see all of you in the program in February and March, Healing from Within. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mila.
Thank you for listening to Love Light this week. Be sure to join Dr. Jean Marie Farish again for another program next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and noon Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a wonderful week filled with love, self-worth, and better connections.